today we talk about how do we recruit right. And today we're going to be talking and in conversation, of course, with Shefali Tripathi, where she will be talking about some great strategies to building a foolproof, robust hiring mechanism. And there you see, as I talk, Shefali is already on screen with me. Thank you so much, Shefali, and welcome to the event. You are muted, Shefali.
Hi, good evening, everybody, and thank you very much for such a warm welcome.
All right.
It is like home. Yes.
Before we actually start, let me put out a short introduction for you about you to all of them, and then you will have the stage, and you can go ahead with your presentation. Now, Shefali, she's an established recruitment strategist for the domain of textile and lifestyle. Trainer and an author, Shefali Tripathi has partnered with more than 1,000 companies in India, APAC, and Africa to solve their recruitment challenges and HR needs. She's the director of Career Genii Consulting Private Limited, nominated for India's 5,000 Best MSME Award for the year 2020. With her experience of multiple domains in manufacturing since '98, armored by an all-woman team, she has helped clients build ninja teams. Shefali is on a dual journey to help employers hire talent and identify why, when, where, and how to find the talent they have been waiting for. Professionals and youngsters build career clarity and experience transformations under her guidance. Her exclusive Recruit Right framework has helped organizations build powerful teams in India, Bangladesh, Hong Kong, China, UAE, Mauritius, Indonesia, Kenya, Ethiopia, Jordan, and many, many more. Shefali's recent Insta book, Recruit Right, is available also on Amazon and Kindle. Shefali has traveled extensively to countries like Germany, Switzerland, China, France, Kenya for business growth. A fitness enthusiast, mother of two amazing daughters aged 18 and 13, her elder daughter is already on her way to entrepreneurship. So welcome, Shefali, and now I'll give the stage to you to talk about some amazing strategies and how do we really recruit right. Over to you, Shefali.
Thank you so much, and a warm welcome to everybody. When Gagan was speaking about me, I actually myself really felt that it's a very, very long introduction. But then I think looking at my age and number of years of experience, I think I've earned a lot of it. Being here today is like homecoming. And why I'm saying it as homecoming is because I come from the domain of garments and textiles. I did my graduation in textiles, and I did my post-graduation from Pearl Academy of Fashion in the year '97. I worked in the export house for a couple of years, actually around 5 years or so, and then I moved out of the industry and decided to become a consultant when I really saw and noticed a lot of entrepreneurs struggling with building of teams. I know many of you might really think that how is it that we don't know about her? It is because we primarily work through references and we have never really, tried to market ourselves, etc. We really cater to specific people. So without further wait, let me just take you through a presentation which might be, actually I've just been given like 40 minutes to do this today. It is a very short time, but I'm trying to definitely do complete justice to this, and let me see how fast and how much value can I add in the time that's given. All right, so let's begin, friends. So who is this for? So I've designed today's session for primarily growth-hungry business owners who are actually looking for a reliable hiring system that can actually solve two core issues. The foremost issue on the basis of my experience has been consistent low inflow of good talent and inability to retain good talent, because of which organizations continuously bleed resources. You're also at the right place today if you are from India, APAC, Africa. And these are the domains and the sectors: apparel, textiles, accessories, hard goods, as also mentioned by Gagan, manufacturing, exports, buying, sourcing, clearing, retail, distribution. So let me put it like that. Anything that's to do with lifestyle, from the fiber to the end product, is what Career Genii specializes in. So we are a non-IT, non-BFSI catering organization. Friends, at the end of the session, this is a special gift that I would be very happy to give. It's a small book which will just take 30 minutes for you to read, but might add a lot of value. So I'm going to be making a couple of very big promises today. You will start retaining good talent if you're able to understand what exactly I'm trying to introduce you to here today. The problem of no talent available in the market, Hindi mein, like a lot of my clients, when they call up and they often say, "Achhe log nahi milte," that won't really exist. You'll be able to find potential candidates from within the own organization, or by building your own database, you'll be able to appoint them. You'll be able to definitely build potential teams, capable teams, and your attrition is definitely going to go down and the retention is going to improve. So Gagan has already spoken about me, but just a very small reintroduction. I am called a recruitment strategist. This is primarily because I can help you find recruitment solutions to almost any problem that you might have, because we get to the core of a problem rather than just trying to do a band-aid treatment to what you might be looking for, which is why I also created the Recruit Right framework. These are a couple of recommendations which you will also find on my LinkedIn profile. There are just a couple of them from the many that we have. Since we don't have much time, I would not really go into endless number of testimonials that we have. So a couple of clients that we have been working in India, APAC, Africa, and other countries like Hong Kong as well. There are a few companies whom we also support in Italy, France, and Belgium as well. But then those are the very exclusive kind of recruitments that we do. So let us understand, why are we here today? So if we try to look at our challenges and problems into two key categories, one is hiring and second is retention. So when it comes to hiring, typical issues are log nahi milte, quality of people are poor, commitment nahi hai, low industry knowledge, low dedication, unreliable, poor communication, poor product knowledge. They don't take ownership, non-delivery, they use excuses, again, retention, they want more money, but they don't want to work. They have big increment expectations, and at the end of the day, they'll end up blackmailing you, asking you for higher salaries. They will show your offer letter somewhere else and then look for an increment. But if you really look at it in a deeper manner, you'll understand that these are actually not the real problems. So what am I trying to say here? What I'm trying to say is that these are actually the symptoms. Now, interestingly, let's look at an example of what we very recently went through. I hope it is fine if I expect some interaction and if I ask you questions. Would you like to anybody would want to be interactive, or I would really appreciate, because otherwise that I'm just speaking to pixels.
I think, so, Shefali, you could take the questions, or maybe people will be able to answer you on the chat.
Yeah, that's what, maybe they can just respond to me on the chat, because if it is interactive, it definitely helps. Yeah. So it's okay, feel free to be interactive if you want to, that's perfectly fine, but it'll only be encouraging because, anyways. So let us just take an example of what are the symptoms of COVID, right? Dry cough, fever, body ache, shortness of breath, loss of smell or taste, right? Exactly the same way, what are the symptoms of hiring issues? Inability to find good people, poor quality candidate, expectation mismatch, poor stability, and high cost. So what exactly is the reality? This is the reality. The reality is majority of businesses are solving the symptoms, but not the core issue. Now, how do we solve the core issue? Because we probably are not even aware of the core issue. And what we do exactly is we come up with band-aid solutions for symptoms, like hire new people because somebody is not performing, hire a new agency because somebody is not able to give you the right people, buy database, go to Naukri, there are a number of other portals, engage third-party companies, take references, hire people, engage new consulting firms, bring in HR systems, etc., and things like those. But what is actually the reality is that when you use band-aid solutions, you experience temporarily. But after a few months, you again find yourself dealing with the same problem once again. Correct me if I'm wrong, friends. I'm a part of this industry from more than 2 decades now, and I've been neck deep into what exactly is happening, what most of my clients actually go through. The point is, this is what we are trying to fix, whereas the real problem lies in the root. So what is the real problem? Everybody is wondering what is actually the real problem and who's the real enemy. This is the real enemy, friends. So apathy. Typically when I have my clients calling me up, they really don't want to understand the entire recruitment process. They have apathy towards the entire structure, the way we look at marketing, the way we look at sales, we look at operations, we call in consultants to address our productivity issues, quality issues, we introduce lean manufacturing, industrial engineering, etc. But then, what do we do about actually people? You see, organizations, we all know, are not made of walls. It is made actually of people. Even Steve Jobs did not do everything himself. It is his team that actually got the results. So what is the dark truth? Whether you like it or not, but 95% of us are very casual towards hiring. And we use obsolete hiring mechanisms and processes. I am often given a JD, a job description, which was made by some HR executive or an HR manager a decade ago. The organization has moved on from there to where it is today, and we are still following the same job description. The interesting part is the accountable manager has no idea about the deliverables that we are looking at, because we have actually never taken a very serious approach. We've always been casual about it. So are we affected by this? Of course we are. So what is actually? Exactly, this is what is happening. So the reason is that we have never actually looked deeply into the challenge of hiring. So we are now left with two choices. What do we do? Again, I will refer a few of my earlier clients who would say, Shefali, let's spread the price more. I know XYZ professional. She's an excellent merchant. He's a great marketing guy. Offer him 50% of the salary. Get him on board. And what is the solution? We are not able to retain. There is an expectation mismatch. So we have got two solutions here, two options here. One, we play the conventional typical price war that we always do. And then, we are snatching from industry friends, or we use a systematic hiring approach. So what is the permanent solution? Definitely not to play the price war, not to ask endless number of people to find someone, spend endless hour in conducting interviews, issuing offer letters, not having people joining in, hiring new manager, multiple agencies, buying database, none of these. So what it is the permanent solution is re-engineering. So what are the benefits of re-engineering? So when do we actually re-engineer? We re-engineer exactly like in other domains that we have. We typically speak about re-engineering in production or in quality or in lean. But if you really look at it, if you look at the entire process of recruitments that I'm going to be speaking about today, you'll understand why we need to actually re-engineer ourselves. These are the 5 key outcomes that we are going to probably get if we follow re-engineering. So this is the hiring mechanism that I have formulated, which is called WWH. What, where, and how. And this is the process flow that we are going to be following. I'm going to help you identify what is it that you're looking for and how do you actually identify what you're looking for? Where should you be looking for the right people and the talent? How should you be finding them, and how to ensure that they join and you're able to retain them? So let's go and dive in. Please do send me messages in case you can. It might just be encouraging for me. So what is the first power principle? If you're promoting your business, you need to know what your customer looks like, correct? So if you are in the business of, let's say, manufacturing of jacquard fabrics, I'm sure you will not try to participate in an event which is of footwear. Or you would not want to be a part of an event which is about high fashion clothing, because, well, jacquards definitely are used in clothing as well, but let's say jacquards for home furnishing. You will actually only be targeting the customer for whom you are actually producing. Similarly, when you hunt for good candidates, you really need to know what really a good candidate looks like. So that is the key power principle. What we typically do is this. So typically I will have an employer calling me up and say, Shefali, banda dhoond do, find me somebody, bas ye profile chahiye, or aisa usko aana chahiye, will give me 4, 5, 6 sentences, and that's it. And Shefali Tripathi and Genii Consulting definitely does the due diligence, but the challenge is that we then would go on the basis of our understanding. you, for your organization or organizational growth and for your team, it is very important for you to know what exactly are you looking for. So how do you define what we are looking for? The first question is, why do you really need it? What about looking into your own database for once and find out if you really have somebody who is an underperformer, somebody who does not have enough work? There are a lot of HR systems and processes which are available, which definitely help you in understanding about the performance of a professional. Maybe we can find out, this is just one of the ways of how you can go about it. Do you really need to hire somebody? I'll just give an example of one of my very recent customers. It's a startup organization and they are getting into the business of textiles. We got an inquiry to look for a merchandiser for them. But during the process, we understood that they do not have an HR need. So we have now, we are identifying a freelancer or a part-time professional who can work from home, a lady who would probably be doing this work for the first 3 months of time till the time the organization becomes more sustainable. And then we will probably have either the same person working full-time or maybe bring in more talent. So what does it contain? Who's going to be making it? You see, your accountability manager, I'll again give you an example. If I have a manager merchandise who's looking for a senior merchandiser and the job description has been created by the HR and the HR executive is the one who's conducting the search on the basis of the JD that has not been created by your manager merchandising who has to get the work done, do you think it is actually the right approach of looking and hiring people? Because at the end of the day, when your team member is not performing, you as the leader of the organization is always going to ask the team leader why the candidate is not performing. But the challenge is when we went looking out for this person, we never really looked for those skills because this guy is not really aware that the JD has already been made or what kind of JD it is. So let's try and get a job profile built and developed by the accountability manager who is supposed to be making the person work. So this is something so JD is like a live document. It keeps changing with the profile and also the accountability manager that you have. So who is my ideal candidate? Typically, a job description has these 5 things. But honestly speaking, I do not believe in a set structure when it comes to job description. I often tell my clients to share their thoughts in whatever category that they are thinking, because what happens is the first things comes first. What is more important to you will always come first. But the broad categories are these. You have a job title which should be clear, but the reason why it should be clear is that if I'm looking for a senior merchant, I would definitely not be looking to shortlist resumes of maybe a manager merchandise or assistant manager merchandise, etc. These are very simple and basic things that, yes, you will be surprised to know that we get such kind of profiles as well. And whatever I'm sharing with you today is on the basis of my experience of 2 decades of what me and my team, we usually land up dealing with. So what exactly is the job summary? How do you create a great job summary? So one is you haphazardly pick up sentences from here and there and pen it down. And second, you start jotting down things from first things first. For example, the moment a professional comes into the company, what are the key deliverables that you're looking for? What is it that this person is supposed to be doing? What are the responsibilities? What are the duties, etc.? And when you start jotting them down, it becomes a part of your job summary. It becomes a part of your expectations, what the person is supposed to be delivering. If you already have your KRAs, if you have some HR systems in place, your job description also kind of takes birth from the KRA as well. You also have to pay attention to qualification and skills. Now, interestingly, I was speaking to one of the director of Footwear Design Institute in Noida, and they have been facing this huge problem about, professionals being hired or students being hired. So when I conducted my research, interestingly, I came to know what they are teaching and what the industry is looking for are 2 different skill sets. So when you're looking at qualification, it often happens that we get a requirement where an organization is looking to hire a merchant, but in qualification, they'll say, find us a design professional. My question is, if I have pursued design, I may not be very happy to do merchandising. Again, it might be a stopgap arrangement for my career, but in the long run, it may not really make a lot of sense. So when I had a conversation with the director of the institute, I requested them to just relook into the course curriculum, that what are we really preparing these students for? If the industry is the one who's supposed to absorb these professionals, then are you really making them industry savvy? Or is it that their expectations are so impractical and the delivery, what is required, is totally not in sync with their professional aspirations? The last thing, but not the least, is demographics. We look at professionals. See, if you have somebody who's staying very far off from your organization, it definitely doesn't make sense. Again, this is a very, very basic thing. But we usually go beyond this as well. And when we think about hiring people, we look at multiple other aspects. For example, your marital status, which is the city that you originally belong to? Do you have a property here? Can you relocate at all? When did you get your last increment? What was the percentage of your increment? Multiple things that actually go into it. So the demographics, etc., also need to be in place. So now we'll talk about how do you reach your prospects. So there are three key ways of how you actually reach your prospects. So let's talk about the first one, which is database as your gold mine. We have so many ways of how professionals keep applying to us. They will go to the website, they will come and give the hard resume. You might have an industry professional working with you who would probably provide you with a resume of an interested professional. You might have relatives, you might have freshers coming in, etc. My question to you is, what happens to this huge chunk of information in terms of these candidates which come into your company? What do you really do with them? What happens to it? Do we ever realize that this database actually is a gold mine? So let's consider if we have an organization which has an average turnover of, let's say, around 50 to 100 crores. I would actually say this from my experience that you'll almost on an average, you will get anything between 100 to 500 resumes every month. Now, what does that mean? If I'm getting 500 resumes, up to 500 CVs every month, in a year, I will at least have 6,000 CVs in my database, and 6,000 CVs of those professionals who've actually come walking to me. We all know what is the difference between cold calling and people when they approach you. So, what is the footfall? Let us compare this with the footfall. So when you have the customer who's walking into your showroom to have a look at your product, the probability of them picking up your product is very high, vis-a-vis when you actually cold call your prospective buyers. Isn't that so? So what happens to your database? Can we just make an attempt to see if we can introduce a system on the drive maybe and just start putting the entire database together? Now, this is what HR executives are here for. But unfortunate bit is that we usually have HR for handling compliance of buyers or handling government professionals because of administrative compliance, etc., and HR compliance as well. I know most of us usually do not do offsites. There are trainings that definitely happen with organizations, but then I am today going to put a lot of emphasis on introducing trainings to your team, because at the end of the day, it is an investment in your organization. Because again, as I said, your firm is made by the teams, right? So when you have this resume and the database that comes to you, it actually makes you enormously powerful. You can introduce a mechanism where you can find out if there is a prospective candidate in the database itself. And what about maintaining a candidate history? Did this person call up, having one point of contact, one POC in the company who receives all candidate calls, an executive HR who receives all calls from these people and is the one who maintains the database and the Excel of status of who called, what was the discussion, was he hired or rejected, why was he rejected, can we introduce a grading mechanism on the basis of, let's say, A, B, and C category candidate, etc. What I'm talking about here is having a database that you can always go back to. A database that can actually be accessed by anybody. Imagine your, let's say, your marketing manager or your merchandising manager accessing your database and just picking up a candidate from there directly, because the entire documentation has been done properly and there's clear information on what exactly happened to the candidate. Or did we make an offer? Am I hope not approaching the same candidate again? Correct? So let's try and build our database, because that is the gold mine that we are really sitting at. Second is, What about creating a reference policy? Now, what is the reference policy? So referrals are a very, very important part out of the domain of textiles. There are few companies I know in our industry as well who are following it. But the best thing about providing referrals is that, when it comes from within the company, your team members already know the organization in and out. They also know other professionals in the industry. They know their friends who passed out of them, who became a part of other industries with them. They were their past colleagues, or they come from the same institute. They are on multiple WhatsApp group, etc., and things like those. These people definitely know your organization better than anybody else. So what about coming up with a policy in our organization where we request for referrals? Let's create a job board. Now, this job board I know we usually have for labor. So typically we will put up a small white patta, a board. I default, my employer used to do that. So we put this small board that says, आवश्यकता है कारीगर की, इस सिलाई मशीन की, सिलाई मशीन की, embroidery की, etc. So we often do that. But what about putting up a job board also in the organization where we let our team members know that this is what we are looking for? We can also introduce a small incentive. This is called a referral incentive, which is extensively used in other industries. So we can probably do this in our own organization as well. But whenever we introduce this policy, it is definitely important to bring everybody at the same level and inform the advantages of why we are doing this. This also makes your current employees feel more responsible towards the organization. What about training your team to search online? Well, I'm basically speaking about especially your HR professionals. Now, we are talking about building a process here, which is driven by a timeline. So whenever we are looking to hire somebody, I am also going to be speaking about building a recruitment funnel. So when we build a recruitment funnel, we build an entire process, we have timelines, and we go creative. I will also be speaking about how do you build your market reputation to attract good quality talent so that you don't have to run after people. There is a Chinese saying, that means that if you have a great brand reputation and if you have a great office, you will have people coming and working for you at low salaries as well. But if you don't have visibility and you don't have a good office, the possibility is that people come to work for you at high prices, and even then they will probably not be with you for a very long time. They will leave you and they will move on. So trainings, as I said, is a very important part of it. So you can avoid cold calling. We are going to be training. You have to train your HR teams in searching your professionals online. What are the other ways? So one is outsourcing. When you go for outsourcing, you primarily buy a database. I will not be naming one or two companies, but we know there are huge databases available. But then how deeply do we really know these databases? I hope we are not making a fool of ourselves, because I give an example of one of my clients from Faridabad who called me up. He took the Recruit Right Training Framework program, and we trained their entire team. But after a few days, they came back to me and they said that the database that we have there, that they have actually bought, is all fake, because none of the candidates are available. They are this is an old database and they have given it to us at throwaway prices, etc. My thing is, whenever you plan to engage database, please take a sample, do a complete research, understand pros and cons, speak to people who are already working on that database to understand better. Your team needs to understand human psychology very, very well, because database at the end of the day, what are they? They are actually resumes, and resumes these days are not even made by the candidates themselves. They engage outside agencies or professionals to actually build your CV. So you need to have that training and understanding to be able to differentiate between what is the reality and what actually is not true, and where it is that we are faking it. So you should be able to read in between the lines. And last but not the least, with database, you always have to be prepared for a fall. What does that mean? You issue an appointment letter, you've given an offer letter, the candidate is accepted the letter, you've issued an appointment letter, and then the candidate does not join. There is complete silence, from the other end. And you, as the employer, as the team leader, you need to have somebody on the line, and your HR executive or the hiring manager says, sir, what can I do? So again, this happened because we could not actually read between the lines. There were symptoms. We could clearly see that it is coming, but then many a times we don't want to face the reality. And that's the reason why we land up where we do. And then we hire agencies. Now, hiring agencies is usually one of the best things people believe that they do, but then it also completely backfires. So when you hire agencies, there are so many of them. See, let's understand. Recruitment as a business has very low entry expenditure or threat. So everybody thinks that they can become a recruitment consultant or a placement agent because it does not really need anything. And then, they start working at throwaway prices. We as employers, we get enticed by them, but do we realize even for once that how much it is going to be costing us by engaging somebody who is not going to be handling your requirement professionally? I'm talking about, please always remember that your recruitment consultant is like your external HR agency or an HR arm who's actually a flag bearer of your goodwill. What is it that they're going to be talking to you about? See, especially the domain of manufacturing in garments and textiles, per se, is a very small industry and information travels very fast. If there is one professional who's not very happy, convinced with an organization, he would never go out and say, hey, I was fired because I was not performing well. This person would say, it's a useless organization, don't be a part of it. And then information travels very fast. Unfortunately, thanks to portals like Glassdoor and Mouth Shut, etc., there is too much of crap that also unfortunately happens. And at times, employers are not even at a fault. So please do your research carefully. Always go by references, seek references from the industry, check portals like LinkedIn, look at professional portals, look at their references, look at testimonials, look at what other industry stalwarts are talking about. Look at the value the organization is giving. Don't just look at, the money part of it that is coming in. I know a lot of my clients, earlier they used to come to me and say, organization are taking about 5,000 rupees to send n number of CVs. My problem is your time is your biggest asset. The similarity between Dhirubhai Ambani and me is that he had 24 hours and I have 24 hours. It is just about how I'm spending 24 and how he spent his 24, which is what made Reliance, and which is why I'm where I am. So the point I'm making is it is about how constructively are we really utilizing our time. So let's look at time. I won't even call it a commodity. Time has absolutely no price at all to it. And that, as on date, is the most essential asset that we have. So now let's talk about the recruitment funnel format. So the first point, which is very important, always involve your accountable manager, the one who has to get the work done from the particular professional that you're looking to hire. Anything starting from a shift supervisor to a manager of marketing, everybody, your manager who will be taking reporting from this professional have to be a part of the process. Otherwise, there will be a huge discord. The challenge also is that most employers, they do not trust their teams when it comes to hiring. Rightly so, because we do not have systems in place. When we have proper systems in place and we have made somebody accountable, then definitely there are going to be results. In recruitments, when we work with our organization, one of the largest challenge we also face is that, God forbid, the candidate is not able to perform. The employer comes to us and say, hey, give me a replacement because the guy did not perform. Interestingly, now look at this. You hired the professional after conducting an interview. From multiple resumes which were sent, you did your due diligence, you did all your psychometric analysis, etc., whatever. You conducted multiple rounds of interviews, etc. And your HR now does not want to take responsibility of a failure. Think about it. And HR finds it very convenient to chicken out and say, sir, agency was useless. Sir, they did not send the right people. My question to all my dear employers is, just think about it. Your HR department is your employee. They are the flag bearers also of your company's goodwill and reputation. None of the recruitment agencies would give you a person and say, hire just this person I'm sending you, blindly don't even conduct an interview. That never happens. Let us actually put them accountable, make them accountable for the work that they are doing. Trust me, when you make people accountable for their work, they also feel more important in the company. They also feel more valued in the company. And this is not what I'm saying. This is what also the research proves. So people who are made to feel more important, accountable, they also have high retainership with the company. They are, they work for longer periods of time. Let the person be responsible in shortlisting process, conducting telephonic interviews, Zoom interactions. Also, one thing I really want to emphasize on is that please do conduct telephonic interactions before conducting personal interactions and even Zoom interactions. Now, so more so because we can save a lot of time, especially if you are working at a senior level position. Very often when I speak, again, I'll give an example from the industry. Whenever we have a director or a senior manager who's a part of an interview process, let's say, as an employee, you are paying somebody 300,000 rupees a month. The per day cost of this professional to you is 10,000 rupees. Every hour spent in conducting useless interviews is what is the money that is causing the entrepreneurs. So why I'm actually putting emphasis on something like this is that we at times just take it so casually because we have apathy. So let us start really looking at it in terms of the real money that you are bleeding when you or your team is casual about the entire process. So let's have the telephonic system in place, the personal interactions in place. Let's have a format wherein you would exactly know what are the kind of questions that we are going to be asking. We need to confirm the authenticity of a candidate. How do we do that? Ask for references. Conduct psychometric analysis. In fact, now there are a few more advanced systems which have come in, which Career Genii also provides one of the services for. So we can help you in identifying, the psychometrics of a professional. But then the thing is, as an employer first, and the senior managers of your company also have to go through that analysis. Only then the match will be made. So if your organization is, let's say, is very technical and is very oriented towards technical delivery, and the person you're bringing in lacks that kind of technical understanding, but is a very nice, bright, great communicator, etc., there would be a mismatch because technicality may not really need communication skills. I hope I'm making my points very clear. So there has to be a perfect match. Like when we get married, you have these gun that match. So if we look at, hiring just like a process of marriage, you will probably really understand that. And then the documentation formalities have to be complete. A lot of our clients have never even looked at getting the documentation complete. Now, what really happens is when you do not have transparency in the system, candidates actually can find an easy flaw in the system. And trust me, friends, you will, at the end of the day, will suffer because then people don't take you seriously. You will have to have your checklist at every point and process has to be in place. Your authenticity has to be confirmed and even your documentation has to be proper in place. I strongly emphasize on getting salary proofs. You will have a lot of candidates coming up to you and say, we don't get salary slips in our company. But then in today's time, all organizations, they make payment through bank transfer. Please ask for a bank statement. And when I say bank statement, ask for a bank statement which is on the basis of what their resume says. If I changed my company 6 months ago, my 1-year bank statement should show 6 months in the current company and 6 months maybe in the last company, for example. Right? So please pay attention to these details, or if you're not doing this directly, your accountable manager or the manager HR. Now let's talk about retention. How many of us have ever heard about the concept of becoming a purple cow? Interestingly, this is a marketing and sales concept. And I first saw this during one of my interactions with my mentors. Purple cow basically talks about becoming an organization when you decommoditize yourself. Means you become exceptional. Means you show to the world that you are actually not like others. And for this, you really have to innovate. Retention has a very important, becoming a purple cow can really help you in retaining people well. So let me help you understand how am I using the concept of the purple cow when it comes to retention. An example here is taxis, the yellow and the black taxis in Uber. Now Uber is the purple cow. Another example, chai, general, we see these nukkadwalas selling chai, and chayos is the popular, the coffee shop or the chai shop that we see often, is a purple cow. So what do I mean? You become a purple cow by re-engineering your recruitment process and marketing image and market image in a way that good talent sees you as an organization is unique, remarkable, and super value to their career, which they can't get anywhere else. While everybody talks about working with this very limited 15 to 20 odd organizations, the reality is not that these are the only great companies to work with. I mean, textiles and garments still is one of the largest exporters and manufacturers contributors to the country's economy, right? So there are multiple other companies, but unfortunately they are not visible. Now we might think, how does it matter that the industry knows about me or doesn't? It does. Because this is how exactly you attract the right team. When people know you, that is what advertising is all about. What is advertising? How do people know about you? It's repetition. When you see about it, how does advertising work? People know about a brand. How do we know that surf is great? Because we have seen Lalita ji selling surf over and over and over when we were children. We have seen that happening. So we started blindly trusting surf and we went to the market and it became a brand. The point I'm making is that you have to be visible. You have to innovate. You have to be innovative about telling the world about your brand that exists and why it is a great workplace to be in. So hey friends, if you have your website, which is antiquated, you've not really bothered to work on it, you've not been interactive on social media, you've not really paid attention to it, trust me, when it is millennials, it is going to play an important role. So maybe it's time to relook at your strategy. So let's just have a recap. I hope I'm in time. Gagan, please let me know in case I'm exceeding my timeline. So just like sales, marketing, production, quality, and design, you need to make systematic hiring an integral part of your business. So this is what we discussed today. So I'll just in 5 minutes help you just revise what we went through. So this is about what, where, and how. That is primarily what leads to having and building great teams. So you need to really define your need. You need to identify good sources, which is in sync with your company's requirement. You need to build your recruitment funnel and joining and retention, be a purple cow so that you don't have to run after people. So what is it that Career Genii does? We serve all the recruitment challenges. We have a proven track record of 20 years, more than 2 decades, and we are primarily into domain of garments and textiles, which is specific. So we can save effort, time, money, and we work like an extended HR arm. Just some more introduction to what Career Genii does. We are based out of New Delhi. The Recruit Right framework that I spoke about today trains your team in creating a complete system over a 5-week training program as well. You can definitely re-engineer the system that I have just shared with you all by yourself, or you can probably reach out. We can, these all organizations have already done it, so you can just reach out to us as well. So I just repeat, if you change your perspective towards hiring from empathy to becoming a little more conscious and making it an important part of your process, you define your need well, identify the ideal source, you build a foolproof recruitment funnel, you focus on becoming a purple cow, you will never have hiring and retaining challenges. So that's what I have to offer. You can please book a 30-minute strategy call. Here is a form in case you feel that I can add value to your organization. I am probably somebody who can play a role in your growth and can be an extended arm to your firm. I am always here. And with this, I come to an end. Thank you for being a great audience. Did I exceed my time, Navin?
Yes, no, absolutely on time. And thank you so much, Shefali, for these wonderful inputs on, I would say, making these organizations so responsible in being right, being hiring right. And I can see clearly how this is going to even help them project as the world's best hiring organization, and how the people can get the best environment here, which is just amazing. Thank you so much for these wonderful insights. I really love them, frankly. And
thank you, Gagan. Can you just, if we can just put the link also in the chat, maybe?
I have already done that, Shefali, already
Thank
done
you.
that. And if you see, the link is there on the chat box. If you want to connect with Shefali, if you want to do a call with her, as she's already offered to do a 30-minute call for creating your strategy, it will be really, really nice. Bakar, thank you so much for showing interest. You have the link up there. I will post it again if you want. This is the link where you can go and connect. There is a right side, you will see a button, connect with the consultant. Go there and you will definitely be able to connect with Shefali. And there are reviews there. So there will be definitely reviews there. So you can put out a review for, if you like this session today, put out a review for SowtexConnect. And at this point, I'm sure Shefali must be ready to answer certain questions. There are some questions already there, Shefali. So I will be taking up some questions which came out in the chat box, but I would also request you all to please post your questions on Q&A box or now in the chat box as well. Shefali, if you can see the chat box, the accolades are already coming in. A lot of people are so happy to be on this presentation and to see this presentation, which is just wonderful. I would like to take a question from Alok Bhalla, which he had put in somewhere in the middle of your presentation. And the question says, is loyalty appreciated? If an employee stays in one job 20 to 30 years, is he considered a loser, non-ambitious, risk-averse? Is it a sign of dynamism to keep changing jobs?
Alok, thank you very much for asking such an amazing question. Okay, so let me just put it like that. If you are a part of an organization, I'll start from my organization's example. I am very proud to say that my entire team has been with me for more than a decade. Wow. I did not let them go because I valued my talent. So if you've stayed with an organization for 20 to 30 years, it is the responsibility of the employer to ascertain that you get the growth that the industry is going to be offering you, that you are given trainings, and then that there is a succession plan which is already in place for you. The growth, your growth path is already set, and that you're not stuck at one place. When we do the Recruit Right framework, when we conduct those trainings, Alok, we also tell our employers that please ensure that the second stage of growth of the candidate is already in place. Let me give you another example for that. If a professional has been at a certain role for 2 years, at let's say a merchandising position, then have you trained the professional for a senior merchandising profile, on an assistant manager merchandise after another 2 years or 3 years, or a manager merchandise and henceforth? And it happens also very often, if you feel that you're not able to do due diligence to the talent that you have, please do not have fear to let people go. It is extremely important. No, it is not a sign of dynamism when you keep changing jobs. It is a sign of, I don't want to use that word, but when we have resumes of people who have stability in the resume, trust me, we keep that database totally separate as our gold mine.
Wow.
So that's what Career Genii does. That's the first thing that we look on in professionals that we at least look to hire for our clients. Thank you for asking, Alok. That's a great question.
Super. Thank you so much, Shefali. Now there's another question from Rameshan PT. He says, can you please elaborate on cold calling? I think there was, you'd spoken about cold calling. He wanted to just a bit more elaboration of that, if you would like to do that at this point.
Yes, absolutely. So Rameshan, in my presentation, I spoke about purple cow. So it means that you need to become a purple cow. If you are facing a problem of cold calling, it just means that people do not know enough about you. So one of my mentors says that whenever you call somebody, they should receive your call as if you are warm food in the restaurant where you visited and you were very hungry. So you know that feeling and the sentiment when you receive a call. If today, let's say I get a call from Modi ji, I'll be, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. If I'm a professional and I get call from Best Corporation Rameshan, I should be, oh my God, this is such a lucky day for me. Correct? I hope I've been able to give you an answer.
All right, wonderful. Thank you so much. Shefali. I think Bakar, Nakwi, Bakar, if you are still here in the room, can you raise your hand and you wanted to ask a question probably? Okay, I think, yes, Bakar, I'm going to allow you to talk. And there you go. You're there on the screen with us now. You can talk, by the way, Bakar. Can you unmute yourself and ask your question?
Hi, Shefali.
Hi, Bakar. I can hear you.
So it was a pleasure hearing you. I run an organization where we are in a fortunate problem where we have enough clients coming in on a daily basis, but unfortunately, we are unable to build a pipeline of people to deliver. We are in a people kind of a consulting. I run an e-commerce consulting operation. So multiple things. One, and we have tried multiple things. We've tried to hire freshers and train them. Unfortunately, the mindset that a lot of millennials come with may or may not be exactly suited to what we are trying to do. We have tried to take people from different organizations doing the same thing, but then we're trying to do it in a different way. So I'm continuously in this issue of whom to hire, when to hire. So I don't have a question, but I would want to have a longish session with you where we are able to create a longer term strategy on how to recruit more people and the right kind of people. I would certainly love to someday say that I haven't had a single employee going out in the last decade.
So first, let me congratulate you, Bakar, that there is something right that you're doing, which is why you've been able to retain your people. Yes, you very right said, actually, your inquiry is very detailed. I will need to get a better understanding of the kind of business that you are in to be able to come up with, a better solution. Because I understand there are a couple of things that you've already tried, which means that there is somewhere some root cause, which is leading to the challenge that you're facing. So let us connect offline or maybe on call to take this further.
No, absolutely. I think the biggest issue only that I understand as of now is that there's a dearth of the right kind of skill sets, and the rate or the pace at which you want to grow certainly doesn't match with your being able to train them. So yeah, I mean, as I said, so maybe it would be good to connect sometime and understand them a little more.
So, Bakar, allow me to use your query to put across a very important message here to industry stalwarts that we have here. See, when it comes to institutions, I'll tell you from what I wanted to do when I joined Pearl Academy. I wanted to become another Ritu. And when I passed out from my course, I was a GMT, and so I was an expert of garment manufacturing technology. And then I realized that, oh my God, I'm not going to be with the very. And that happened after I came out of the trade, I came out of the institute and started working. The challenge is there is a complete mismatch, as you very rightly said, between what we are preparing our students for and what is it that the industry is looking at. So I humbly request our stalwarts to actually reach out to the institutions and maybe also to the government and relook at the course curriculum that we have. There is a huge problem, as I also just spoke about the interaction I had with the FDDI director the other day, that the candidates are not getting great opportunities because there is an expectation mismatch. The exporters, the manufacturers are getting frustrated because the expectations of these millennials also, as you rightly said, is very different from what you have. They don't want to work in sweatshops, but hello, when you are in manufacturing, you will have to be a part of the sweatshop. That's what you were trained in. If you're an engineer, you have to be on the floor. So who has to do that? Somebody has to take that initiative and go to these institutes and tell them that we need to just relook at what we are preparing our students for.
Super. Bakar, thank you so much for asking the question. And yes, Bakar comes with a wide experience within the textile industry, having led multi organizations as a CEO. So thank you so much, Bakar. And yes, the connection, you should definitely connect with Shefali and take things forward. Thank you so much, Bakar, for asking the question.
Thank you, Gagan. Thank you, Shefali.
All right. All right. Okay. And now at this point, I would like to, yes, the floor is still on. And in case you have any more questions, please feel free to ask now. You can leave a message in the chat box, or you could leave a message in Q&A box. It's absolutely okay. There was another question somewhere. I I did not really get the context. Okay. Subrata Kumar Dash, you've spoken about pain area. Okay, I think this was he had taken while you were in the middle of your session. At that time, the solutions were just around coming in. So maybe he had posted a message at that point. But yes, I'll be happy to have any more questions which come up now. And otherwise, of course, we will be closing the session soon. But Shefali, thank you so much in the meanwhile for adding so much of value to the people. It shows the kind of depth which you have understood the industry, and because I know that your focus on the textile industry and the challenges which people have within the industry, and they are very, very apt. They're very, very critical. And yes, every business owner, every HR department must work on these to make sure that there is a collective good experience around all, whether it is from the employer side or whether it is from the employee side. Both of these factors are very, very critical, and we are all in, as you mentioned, we are all in this together, and it all has to come from both the sides to make an organization really perform the way it should, which is just wonderful. Thank you so much for adding so much value to the entire event.
Thank you, Gagan. Gagan, just one last statement that I want to make. Yes. You see, human resource is it's a topic which is very close to my heart. And when I was asked to start working for multiple other sectors, etc., I just refused to do that. And I decided to remain a part of the domain of lifestyle because I'm emotionally very connected to this industry. And it pains, it hurts. And I'm sure that you can see from my emotions and the throw in my voice and the feelings and everything that it hurts when I see entrepreneurs really struggling because they are running the cogs themselves. And because we are not able to really identify, we don't know where to go, where to start from. So thank you for giving me this platform to reach out today and see what bit I can do. Like there's that small story where this guy is, walking on the seashore, and there are these starfishes who kind of get thrown out of the sea, and he does this exercise of picking up a starfish every day and throws it back into the sea. And people who are, onlookers, they say, why do you do this every day? How does it make a difference? There are thousands of them dying every day, he said. And then he picks up one more and throws it back and say, I'm going to change the life of this one. So with this, I bring this. This is my last thing.
And not only the emotions, I would say your passion was clearly visible for doing something. Now that the passion and this presentation you made, you were actually talking about to that starfish that I'm going to change the life of this one, which was just amazing. Thank you so much for that. One last question, I think, which has come up from Alok Bhalla, and he says, is money the key driver? Anything else which would determine hiring and retaining?
So let me put it like that, Alok. How do you define success? Anybody who would want to contribute in the chat box? How do you define success? Hello?
Alok, would you like to talk? I can make you talk if you want. If you want to.
Anybody else can also contribute. So let me.
All right, type in if you can. How do you define success, guys?
How do you define success?
Alok would want to talk. Okay, let's see. I'm going to allow him to talk. Go ahead, Alok. You can unmute yourself now.
Yeah, hi, Shefali.
Hi, Alok.
Wonderful session. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So what would motivate a first-time young professional coming into an industry except money?
Okay, so let me put it like that. What motivated a professional to become a part of the industry, the course or the program that he or she became a part of? If you are not motivated enough by your own abilities, your own instincts, then money will always remain the motivator. The point I'm trying to make here, Alok, is if you picked up the industry, the sector and domain because you followed your instinct and you did not go by the family pressure, the current Arjun Bhai of doctoring and engineering you've not really followed, and you followed your instinct, you will always be driven by passion. Else, you will always be driven by money.
But if somebody feels underpaid, would he still be able to work just with passion?
Alok, you're always underpaid. I'm underpaid. Everybody, this is a concept. Ask Gagan. We all are always underpaid. That is how we feel as humans. We are always underpaid. It is just that there are few of us who realize that you need to bring up your capability and skill set to be able to demand higher money or salary. Very few of us who are really honest and have high level of integrity. But otherwise, most of us feel like that.
Okay, thank you.
I would say, I would like to add here, having led organizations and being an entrepreneur for the past 11 years myself, being underpaid and people working for an organization, I'm talking about the employee's perspective, and people working at an organization which is where they're getting paid lesser than another organization which could pay them more is very relative, because it's just not about the money, frankly. I've seen people I have had a series of employees working for me, and most of them do not just work for money. They know that there is recognition, there is growth, there is something to learn every single day they come. They are happy being with the people, with the environment. I think some of these factors matter quite a bit when it comes to them finding a better place to work. And I think if I were able to add a bit more to the HR perspective today, Shefali, with this.
Absolutely.
Yes,
I asked the question about, how do you define success? Nobody answered. So I think I should answer that as well. So if money was success, all the people who have a lot of money would not be taking pills to sleep. And if popularity was success, you would not really be going into depression. Success is when you get up happy, excited every day with a lot of optimism and positive energy to see what lies ahead of you.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Shefali. And on this note, on this wonderful, wonderful thought from Shefali, I would like to thank you all one more time for being such wonderful audience and asking so many questions. And I definitely feel that I got a lot of value looking at this thought process. Well, you want to answer one more question, Shefali, if you have time?
Yeah, there is Subrata who is actually
the same question. I could see that. Yes. In the context of the question, how to set the budget cost for a particular post?
Okay, so again, that is it is relative to what is it that the industry is offering. The best way usually is to go by research. You conduct your research and you find out what is it that the industry is offering, and then accordingly, that can be your first step. The second could be, it can be your company policy. It can depend upon a person's performance, and then going forward, henceforth, you can decide. But you should always follow the industry norms.
Super. All right. Thank you so much, Subrata, for asking the question. And with this, one more time, I would like to thank everyone for being here today. And thank you so much, Shefali, for being here, adding so much value to the industry, to the community, and some very, very valuable comments, very, very valuable inputs you gave for the industry. Thank you so much. And
thank you so much.
Absolute pleasure. And with this, I would like to thank you all for being here at SowtexConnect, another event which is curated specifically for the industry, so that you could learn more, you could understand about your business better, and you could bring these changes within your organization, so that you could go towards a better future with regards to your organization. Thank you so much for being here today, and I would like to remind you, next week at the same time, 5 p.m. on Thursday, we are going to have a senior business analyst, senior business coach who will be coming on board, who will be talking about some very, very interesting topics about the innovations as well as the pricing strategies. So yes, we will be talking about all of this. We have seen a lot of people thinking about pricing issues and how to really make your pricing, your business really effective in this competitive world. We will have a very senior business person coming in talking about all of that. So be there, be ready to receive. We will of course be sending you a lot of information about that. So to do come in for this session next time. Thank you so much, everyone, and thank you, Shefali, one more time for this beautiful session. Thank you. And bye-bye, everyone.